their testing method is they could pull up on you at any point in time and test you. So like I have to give them a whereabouts of where I'm going to be. So let's say I'm here. I have to like let them know that, hey, I'm going to be in Sacramento doing this podcast. I was very active as a child. Like I would work out specifically just to look like, this sounds stupid, but look like characters in the animes I would watch.
No,
so like,
that's not stupid at all.
Yeah, like Dragon Ball Z, like Goku and shit.
That's exactly what Nsima talks about all the time.
Yeah, I used to literally look like, I want to look like Goku. And like they would show the training that Goku would do. And I'm like,
now it's making sense on why he's so strong.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit, I just got to do that to get like bigger. Like you'd show Goku doing push-ups and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll go do that by myself.
What's up with was it beans or something like that? He would eat something.
Oh, yeah.
The sensu beans?
Sensu beans.
Yeah, to heal him.
Not allowed to take those in the IPF.
Yeah.
I'm not with the IPF anymore, so that's good.
There you go.
Yeah, what happened? Something happened with like the USAPL or something. The IPF doesn't recognize it or something. I don't know what's going on.
So it was confusing. So for the most part, I think the easiest way to boil it down is to like the USAPL wanted to do a different style of testing and have their own rules and regulations to that, and the IPF didn't recognize that. And like, you got to follow these rules, or we're gonna have to kick you guys out. So
what do you think of some of the testing and stuff? Like, do you feel that, I know you competed in a drug-tested federation for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you think it was pretty, like, even? Do you think it was pretty well, like, the testing was done pretty well to the point where a lot of the athletes were natural?
I know a lot of people listening are going to be like, there's no way, like, tested doesn't mean, what's the term? Tested doesn't mean...
it doesn't mean you're natural,
tested doesn't mean drug-free or some shit.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. There we go. I personally disagree with that. Their testing method is they could pull up on you at any point in time and test you. So like I have to give them a whereabouts of where I'm going to be. So let's say I'm here. I have to like let them know that, hey, I'm going to be in Sacramento doing this podcast from like this point to this point.
And it's not, and it's also not the USAPL like really like running the test. It's like a WADA thing, right?
WADA, yeah.
Right, so it's a private, I think that's always like the confusing thing, and then people get mad because they're like, oh, the USAPL has all these particular rules and stuff. And they don't really understand. It's not, they're just following the structure that is done by WADA, which also is the same drug protocol that the Olympics follow, right?
Yeah. But then people would argue it's all corrupted at the same time too.
They got their people they want to win.
Yeah.
I mean, we dove into some stuff that was said about Ray Williams because I think they talked about him on Joe Rogan, and they talked about how he has the most muscle mass out of anybody they've ever tested when they did a body fat test.
Yeah.
What was interesting about that is Joe Rogan, I don't think he's aware that Big Ray is a drug-tested athlete. So we talked about it on this show as well, and I was like, I think they're missing out on the fact that I can't say for sure that he's drug free, but he's been drug tested a lot, and turns out that he's one of the greatest powerlifters of all time too.
Yeah, I think people don't realize too. Like, if you wanted to take drugs while you're in the USAPL and you're like a top tier athlete, there's so many different things that you'd have to like go through. There's so many hurdles you'd have to go through in order to make that happen.
Just be a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's like it's just too much. And the thing is like I said earlier, they could pull up right now and require that I take a test. So it's like if I'm running shit, then it's gonna pop for the most part.
Have you seen some people like make some crazy gains where you're like maybe on the world level, not necessarily just here in the United States?
Not really. Not to
like
for
they
the
come
most
back
part,
every year and the gains are they're reasonable.
I would say for the most part, what usually happens is that there's an athlete that's injured and like they don't really tell the public, and they have maybe a couple of shit meets during that year. They heal up and then come back and have like phenomenal meets, but nothing to where it's just like. You're like watching, you're like, oh, this guy's getting fucking strong. Yeah.
Is that something that interests you to go to the quote unquote dark side?
Yeah. No. I've like my whole time lifting, it's never been something that's in my mind. Like
it's not like you're not big enough and it's not like you're not strong enough. You know what I mean?
I would say like I've never sat down and said like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to be on steroids. I mean, like, of course, like maybe here and there, it's just like, oh, like maybe a quick thought, but it's never been like a thing that I think past that initial thought, like the steps that it would take to kind of do that.
Yeah, interesting. Like when I was a kid, when I started lifting, a lot of the gyms that I went to, even when I was like 15, 16, and a lot of the competitions that I went to, even though they were ADFPA, which used to be the USAPL before the USAPL became the USAPL, a lot of those competitions I went to, you know, all they would do is like they would use like a lie detector test.
Yeah.
And I kind of just even knew back then that like, dude, like guys were just like, it was just too much. You know, it wasn't just the strength. It was like the look of a lot of the athletes. And I was like, I think these guys are doing something a little different. And so when I was young, I was always like, when I'm old enough and I can make the decision, I live by myself and I can make my own choices. When I'm an adult, I'm going to definitely heavily consider using some anabolic steroids because I think it's kind of cool. Like I like the look. I like that it increases you know, the odds of you being able to like lift a little bit more weight and stuff like that. So that's the route I went.
Yeah. Did it make you feel, Mark? Did it make you feel like, I don't know, like you were taking it even more serious because you were willing to go that far?
Yeah, for sure. And I never thought of it as cheating because I wasn't trying to compete. Like I hopped out of that federation. As soon as I made a decision years later, I was much older and I never competed in a drug tested federation while I was on drugs. Like I kind of think that that's shit. I definitely wouldn't do that. But in powerlifting, it's actually kind of interesting. Powerlifting, bodybuilding.
Power Project family, how is it going today? Now, Stan Efferding, you know that name. We've had him on the podcast so many different times, but he has his company, Vertical Meals, who we have recently partnered with. Now, the amazing thing about Vertical Meals is this. They have meals for whatever the hell you're trying to do, to be perfectly honest. Chicken enchilada empanadas, chocolate muffin bowl with strawberries, chicken breast dinner large, a large chicken breast dinner. They also have breakfast scramble with sweet potatoes. They have your classic monster mash. They have ground beef with eggs. They also have meals that are just meat. I'm telling you, the options are endless if you go and check out Vertical Meals, and they also taste amazing. So whatever your diet protocol is, you can go to Vertical Meals and you can get meals on the go so you don't have to stress about cooking at home. Andrew, how do they get it?
Yes, you guys got to head over to verticaldiet.com and check this out. You're going to get 20% off your entire first order. There's no limit on that, so go nuts with it. Again, it's at verticaldiet.com, and at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject to save 20% off your entire order. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
You can make a choice. You don't necessarily have to take drugs. You can go to federations or organizations where they are testing pretty rigorously, it seems like, and you can at least go into something that you feel a little more comfortable about. And if you wanted to be natural and you just wanted to see what kind of splash you can make against people that are enhanced, then you can go head to head with those with them as well, which I think is actually really kind of cool.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of friends that competed for many years in federations that were not drug tested, and they were natural athletes, and they kind of liked that. They're like, I don't care if I get my ass kicked a little bit here and there. It's kind of fun just knowing that I can hang with some of these guys that are taking some of these other things.
Yeah, and that's like I know a lot of people have wanted me to compete USPA and untested, and that's like the next goal probably for next year. Like I want to compete with those guys. I wanted to compete against John, but he took off the last 2 years. There's no way like to kind of like get in that realm.
What's the deal with that guy, John Hack?
I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I just remember like whenever I first started powerlifting, because we were in the same weight class, I was like, okay, who's the top dog in this class right now? And I looked up the name and it said John Hack, Wisconsin. I was like, what the fuck is a John Hack? And then I was like, you're telling me the strongest person in this class lives in fucking Wisconsin?
Right.
I was like, bullshit. So I checked up his Instagram and, lo and behold, this guy was lifting crazy. This was like 2016. He was lifting crazy weight. And I was like, damn, it would be dope to share a platform with this guy. But then like just leading up to, I think 2017, that's when he left. After he won his IPF Worlds, that's when he left and decided to go the untested route. So I missed out on opportunity.
We had Ben Pollock on the podcast recently, and Ben was like, he's the reason I'm on the juice. Because he said John Hack kicked his ass in a tested competition, and he was like, I'm out of this. I'm gonna go get on some gear and see what I can do.
I would have loved to compete against John.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a dog. I like the way he has like a certain you guys have met him. He's very he's very I don't know how to explain it. He's very particular. He's very like calm and chill, but he's also like a monster at the same time, and he's super competitive. So like if he sees me hit something, this is way back. If he saw me hit like a squat, he'll try to double it or like, do something like that. So
I don't think the world's ever seen anybody quite like John Hack. I've never seen anything like it personally. I mean, there was a while there where Big Ray was on a crazy tear that
Yeah.
I'd never quite seen before either. But what John Hack is doing right now, I got to say, like, I mean, Larry Wheels was smashing that shit too, and he still does, and he's still like insanely strong. But John Hack is lifting heavy every week, and he competes often.
Yeah.
And he just keeps upping the stakes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on with the guy.
Nah, and if you look at him, his leverages, they're not powerlift. They don't look. He doesn't look like a powerlifter. He just looks like a jacked guy.
Yeah, like still waters run deep. Like he's so chill, but it's like, dude, there's a monster down there.
Yeah.
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 And then so somewhat low hanging fruit, and I know you're sick and tired of it, but I'm bringing it up because Nsima has to deal with this shit all the time too. But the fake Natty claims, like, how do you deal with all that shit nowadays?
I don't care. It doesn't bother. Like, I think when I first started, it bothered me. But like now that I'm like, I know that I'm not taking anything. Why should it bother me? Like, that's your opinion. You know, it's not fact.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
And like what we were talking earlier, which I do want to get into, like the knees over toe stuff, but like you heard of Ben Patrick, but like he wasn't really on your radar because it's like, well, or do you have knee problems?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No. Are you still squatting a shit ton of weight? Yes. Yeah. So it's like, why would you even want to bother when everything is going so well already?
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I think it's funny because what's that guy's name that he does like the fake Natty stuff. He has like a very high pitched voice.
The Greg Doucette.
Yeah, he actually he called me out. He's like, this guy is a Natty.
Hey, that's pretty good. That was really good. Oh shit.
Russel Orhii. I was like, okay, and I made a response video, and then he ended up like retracting what he said. So it was just like, I just approached it the thing as like that's entertainment for him, but like like I'm not sitting. I don't post stuff on social media to kind of convince people that I'm not Natty. Like, what you take from my content is what you take from my content. So, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, you're probably not even really talking about it much. I mean, you just that's what kind of the way I look at it. You compete in a drug-tested federation, and you do your thing your way, and it's like you're going to get those comments here and there.
Like people are gonna like warp their minds to believe whatever they want to believe. I'm like, I'm doing everything I can to show you guys that I'm Natty, but I mean, if it's not enough for you, then you know, it's all. I'm not gonna like trip about it anymore. It's just like, okay, like you think I'm not Natty, all right.
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel because we continue to bring you peak content on this channel. Obviously, you guys are here. You guys watched the whole video. So like, comment, subscribe. All right. See you later.